Right, here we go then. 24 laps of racing about to get underway. The first race of the weekend for the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. The revs rise and we're about to burst into life here with Jake Hill on pole position. He gets the race underway as the lights go out, and it's a good start from Jake. It's a good start from Charles Rainford. Adam Morgan is going to fend off Tom Ingram as well, it looks like, in the battle for third place as they get into Paddock Hill Bend now for the first time. But Ingram swoops around the outside of his teammate on the exit to the corner, and the 2022 champion gets himself straight up to third place with a very good move there. Morgan then in fourth place, and they're coming down the hill now for the first time into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. Adam Morgan has got cars queued up behind him in the battle for fourth place, and it's side by side in the battle for fifth position here. Dan Camish desperately trying to hang on to the position with Mikey Doble going wheel to wheel with him, and Mikey Doble squeezes up the inside of the Vauxhall Astra at the end of the Cooper Straight. There's more contact between them on the way into McLaren. Doble is sent out wide, and Dan Camish is just about fended him off, and then he's going to lose his own place now to Sam Osborne, who's coming through as well. So the two Napa cars going toe to toe with the Vauxhall Astra, and Sam Osborne about to leap up the inside of Mikey Doble on the way into Paddock Hill Bend, which he does. The Ford Focus is both getting ahead of the Vauxhall Astra, but at the start of lap 2, Josh, it is Jake Hill with a perfect start that leads the race. A very good start as well, though, for Tom Ingram, wasn't it?
And he's really quickly caught the BMWs. At Druids on lap 1, he was quite a long way behind, but he's already on terms with Charles Rainford all over the back of the BMW as they go onto the Cooper Straight for the second time of 24 laps. They're bumper to bumper as they turn left through 30s. Rainford's a bit quicker into the first part of the corner, then Ingram hopping over the curbs, sort of has nowhere to go. He kicks up the dust on the inside. His teammate was complaining about that yesterday. They accelerate across the line, and this is allowing Jake Hill to get away now.
Yeah, it is absolutely what he needs, isn't it? So Hill goes through with a gap of about 0.8 of a second over Rainford. Further back, there's going to be some action on the way into Paddock Hill Bend here as Dan Lloyd trying to get a job done on the way up the inside through the right-hand corner he goes. Ash Sutton is in 10th place at the moment, is the highest place driver on the hard tyre. So that's something as he tries to get that out of the way, and then obviously the race 1 results set the grid for race 2.
And of course that's 3 places higher than he started, so it was a good start from Ash Sutton.
It was a good start, yeah. Dan Lloyd did manage to fend off that BMW of Darrell De Leon. He made the move at Paddock Hill Bend. He made it stick up at Druid. So that means that Dan Lloyd is now ahead of the number 2 BMW and into the top 8 as the race leaders come through. And further back, Mikey Doble is on the attack here, trying to get one position back from Sam Osborne as they battle now over 6th position, and he gets through before they get to the start-finish line. So the red and white Vauxhall of Mikey Doble back where he started up into the top 6. Dan Lloyd is bringing Darrell De Leon with him, and they're both now bunched up onto the back of Sam Osborne as they climb up towards Druids. Meanwhile, the front runners coming out of Druids down the hill into the braking zone for Graham Hill Bend. The gap, I reckon, has come down between the top 2 a little bit in the last half a lap or so. Not hugely, but it has come down between Jake Hill and Charles Rainford. Ingram is about 6/10 back. The fastest lap of the race has gone to Rainford, which is why, with a 47.617 second lap. He's not quite in striking distance. And then Adam Morgan versus Dan Camish is one to keep an eye on as well, because Dan looks a little bit quicker than the Hyundai in front of him.
Dan Lloyd in 8th place has been given a false start penalty. 5 seconds to be added to Dan Lloyd's race. He is currently in 8th position. Partly the reason that Hill and Rainford are starting to pull away from Ingram is they've been using their turbo boost in the last couple of laps. Of course, they've got more to use over the course of the race, but now Hill's only got one more lap than Ingram, where that was obviously a much bigger gap before. So Ingram without the turbo boost on those last couple of laps has fallen away, but he might bring it back as the race comes on, because there's a lot of the race yet to go.
Ash Sutton still in 10th place, and just a couple of tenths off the pace of those just ahead of him on the soft tyre at the moment, but the soft tyre will go off a bit as the race goes on. They're stickier, they're grippier, they're quicker, but they don't last as long, so the hard tyre will get a bit closer to the pace towards the end of the race, and of course it's Ash Sutton driving the car as well, which makes it rather quick. So Dan Lloyd having got ahead of Sam Osborne, but doesn't gain a position because he's got this penalty to be added onto his time. The top 5 go through, then Doble in 6th, then Osborne in 7th. Dan Lloyd still actually behind him on the track in 8th place. 9th place Darrell De Leon, and 10th place in the yellow and black number 100 Ford Focus, the 4-time champion Ash Sutton, who on that lap did a 48.3, which is actually a little bit quicker than those ahead of him on the soft tyre. So don't rule him out of gaining a few more places between now and the end of the race, and therefore a better grid for race 2.
There's some very different strategies going on at the front, because Jake Hill continues to use his turbo boost. He's on the same number of laps as Tom Ingram now, whereas Adam Morgan hasn't used any of his yet. He's still got 12 laps he can use. So both Hill and Rainford in the BMWs are using a lot of their boost in the early stages of the race, where the Team Virtue Hyundais behind haven't used any.
Yeah, and you can use it for 15 seconds per lap, up to a maximum of 15 seconds per lap. And for those of you new to touring car racing, it's like Formula 1 where you get a DRS zone. There's only a certain place that you have to use it. You don't have to be within a certain amount of time of the car in front. You can use it whenever and wherever you like, just as long as you reach the minimum speed to do so. And the minimum speed for those in the top 7 in the championship, particularly the top 3, is a lot higher than it is for everybody else. So you can't use it until you reach that speed. Otherwise, it blocks out for 5 seconds, which is what happened to Tom Ingram in qualifying yesterday. Now, Jake, go on.
Sorry, on the last lap, where none of the top 3 were using their turbo boost, 3 tenths quicker was Tom Ingram than Jake Hill. So Ingram has got the pace, and now he's got the same number of boost laps left than the leader. So I don't think we can rule out Tom Ingram from challenging the 2 BMWs up front again.
Aidan Moffat has made a bit of progress from the back of the field in his LKQ Euro Car Parts BMW, the number 16 car of the Scottish driver, from 25th on the grid up to 20th place now, and he's going toe-to-toe with Tom Chilton. In fact, Tom Chilton, he's going to squeeze at the inside of him on the way into Paddock Hill Bend. They're both on the hard tyre. Aidan Moffat's going to get him back, though, on the run-up to Druids and get back onto the inside line by the looks of things, and he, squeezes back through in the rear-wheel drive BMW. Might be a bit of contact on the way out of the corner, I think, as well, but Moffat has got the position done, so that's Moffat ahead of Chilton and into 19th place now from 25th on the grid as the race leaders. Hill, Rainford and Ingram make their way out of Clark Curve. The gap was 1.3 seconds covering the 3 of them on the previous lap. It looks fairly similar as they come through on this lap. It's a bit lower, just under 1.2 seconds. So Ingram slightly closing in on the race leader. Dan Lloyd smoking the tyres, still working hard to fend off the teenage race, the former Radical Sports Car World Champion, second season of touring car racing, Darrell de Leon, the Filipino-British driver there right on the back of Dan Lloyd.
Aidan Moffat's been off at Paddock, I think, through the gravel. That's held Tom Chilton back, and that has allowed Dexter Patterson to pass them both up to 19th towards Druid. So that does seem to be Aidan Moffat's struggle corner of the weekend.
It's Achilles heel, just glanced the gravel, didn't he? Enough to lose traction going up the hill, which killed his speed and cost him a position. And as you say, held up Tom Chilton as well, as Hill and Rainford and Ingram come through over the line. Morgan's kind of adrift now on his own. He's not with them, but he's pulled away from Dan Camish. Doble in 6th place, Osborne in 7th place. 8th on the road is Dan Lloyd, but with this penalty to add to his time of 5 seconds after the full start for him, which will knock him back down the order. So effectively, Darrell de Leon will be 8th, Sutton will be 9th, and Pearson will be in 10th place. We get a replay from the ITV pictures of that wide, leery moment with 2 wheels through the gravel for Aidan Moffat, which ended up costing him a position on the run out of Paddock Hill Bend. So on the hard tyres, Ash Sutton is the best of them, the red sidewall tyre. We also got the red circle around the lights around the number on the car now that you'll see on the display these days, which tells you which tyre they're on. So he's the highest placed hard tyre driver. Smiley's next in 12th, and then Dan Rowbottom in 15th on the hard tyre as well.
Adam Morgan starting to catch the top 3, and Charles Rainford's just done the best lap thanks to a lap that was on the boost, 47.604, a new lap record around this circuit. But Adam Morgan, who hasn't yet used any of his boost, is starting to close in on the top 3 with 14 laps to go. He'll very shortly start using the boost, I'm sure, because he has 12 laps to use over the remaining 14.
Yeah, no surprise that the lap record has gone. It was smashed by more than a second in qualifying yesterday by Jake Hill, having had the lap record stand for 3 years when Colin Turkington took it in qualifying in 2022. And the lap record in the race by Aaron Taylor-Smith of 48.2 previously has already been smashed by Charles Rainford with a 47.604, as Josh says. So here they come over the line once more. 6 laps of boost available for Hill, 7 laps available for Rainford, 6 available for Ingram, 12 available for Morgan, and 8 available for Camish in 5th place. The gap between the top 3s hovering at around 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. At times it closes up, at times it opens up a little bit. But Morgan, you're right, it's going to be the one to watch, because in the second half of the race he's going to have more laps of boost available to him. So keep an eye on the 33 car, the driver that's come back to front-wheel drive racing after a stint racing BMWs. He's raced rear-wheel drive cars in the past when he was racing in Ginetta Challenge, for example. example. But front-wheel drive cars is what he's done most of his BTCC career in, and he's immediately felt at home in the Hyundai. So Adam Morgan in 4th place, pushing hard, had a good solid pace at Donington Park as well. One retirement with a puncture, but good points in the other races, and a much better grid position for this weekend than he had at Donington, where he had to come from near the back of the grid in the first race. Still tight in that battle between Sam Osborne, Dan Lloyd and the BMW of Daryl De Leon as well, as they go up the hill. Those three on track at least, the 7th, 8th and 9th, but with Lloyd carrying this penalty. And a track limits warning for Gordon Shedden in 22nd place, who is struggling around at the moment on the hard tyre. We've got 12 laps done, 12 laps to go. We're halfway into the race.
Yeah, Gordon Shedden's weekend doesn't get any better really at all, does it? He's 22nd in the race. He got past Max Hall a couple of laps ago, but now being given the warning flag as well. Up front, the top three are sort of equal distanced over the last few laps of the race, but as you say, we're heading into the second half now, so this is when Adam Morgan can start using his boot. He did the first fastest of anybody through sector 1. He's 3 tenths quicker than the 3 in front, so that's the difference, and he can do that on every lap, whereas Hill and Ingram have only got 6 left, and Rainford's got 7 compared to Morgan's 11, so he needs to make the most of those extra laps while he can, and he has to start using them by catching the top 3, and that's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, and he's on it again on this lap, looking at the display, the flashing blue light in the side window of the car. So Adam Morgan is on the boost again to get an extra 60 brake horsepower for up to 15 seconds around the lap. So the car in 4th place catching up. He's got 5 more laps of boost available to him than has the race leader, Jake Hill. So he can use that to get into the pack now. He needs to catch the pack, but also give himself time to get embroiled and have a race with them. But of course, he's got his teammate and the driver that is looking to pick up the championship lead here with the 3rd place finish, Tom Ingram, ahead of him. So you've got to think about that as well. Can they work together to fight the BMWs? It's 2 rear-wheel drive BMWs still leading the way.
3 abreast across the line, a bit further back. The 2 Toyotas working together to get past Aaron Rowbottom. So Rowbottom, who was 16th, has been passed by James Dorlin and Aaron Taylor-Smith. But I think as Taylor-Smith and Rowbottom sort of got together out the corner, allowed James Dorlin to pass them both. It's only for 16th, but it was a very close moment up across the line. Yeah,
15th is the last of the point scorers, and that is now Josh Cook. He got up to 15th and into the points on the previous lap of the race. Dorlin having a go to try and get another position here with Aaron Taylor-Smith, but Aaron just about fends him off on the way into the left-hander at Surtees. Aaron with gear change and clutch issues yesterday, so he missed lots of free practice time, which put him on the back foot really. And you heard James saying he made a couple of mistakes in qualifying, which is why he was coming from 20th on the grid when he spoke to Josh this morning. If you were listening to us on Toka Live when we covered the pit lane autograph session. Right, Adam Morgan, what was his last lap? A 47.9, and that was 3 tenths quicker, nearly 4 tenths quicker than the 2 drivers ahead of him. He's on the hybrid again here in 4th place, pushing on. Track limits warning for Daryl De Leon, so he's got to be careful. The track limits warnings mostly coming at Paddock Hill Bend and at Graham Hill Bend, and coming out of Clearway, somebody's kicked up the dust, which is just about settling as the leaders come through.
That was Nick Hamilton, and that means that Nick Halstead has gained a spot. I think Hamilton had a moment there yesterday, didn't he? And then he drove up the grass for quite a while before he was able to get the car back under control. 8 laps of the race to go. Then the top 4 separated by 1.7 seconds. Side by side behind us, Daryl De Leon round the outside of Dan Lloyd. Lloyd has got a penalty to be added to the end of his race, but nevertheless, Daryl De Leon was quite keen to get past so he can go after Sam Osborne, but he was unable to go round the outside. Meanwhile, the 2 Team Virtue teammates turn through Graham Hill Bend absolutely together now. Is there going to be some teamwork here between Tom Ingram and Adam Morgan, or is it going to be sort of a race between the 2 of them, I wonder? Through 30s, up towards Clearways, more battling further back in the pack because Michael Crease and Stephen Jelly have switched positions. That's Crease gaining a place up to 13th.
Yeah, it was Michael Crease with a nice move up the inside on the way to Paddock Hill Bend under braking. He was actually a 10th or 2 back when he crossed the line, but a nice move from him. Meanwhile, Alan, you've got a pit lane visitor.
Yeah, Nick Hamilton into pit lane. I just saw on the television pictures him having a slightly wide moment, and maybe that's a problem on the car that caused that, but nonetheless he's into pit lane.
Thanks, Alan. Right, Adam Morgan has now caught up that lead group. So it's 4 for the lead of the race. 2 BMWs, 2 Hyundais. Eddie's Hill from Rainford, from Ingram, from Morgan. Morgan on to the back almost as they go onto the Cooper Straight.
And this is the lap Rainford can use his boost to catch Jake Hill, and then they're all equal for the final 6 laps. The final 6 laps, they will be on the boost every single lap because they have that available to them. And you can see the difference that Charles Rainford's been able to pull away from Tom Ingram using that boost and catch Jake Jake Hill, but now it's even Stevens between all of them for the final 6 laps.
Michael Creasy's on a charge. He's got himself onto the back of Chris Smiley now. Now Smiley's on the hard tyre and Creasy's on the soft tyre, which is the quicker tyre, but which might start to go off now. But Creasy's definitely the quicker of the two in the green Hyundai as he comes through over the start-finish line. The 777 car is a bit too far back to have a go at Smiley on the way into Paddock Hill Bend, but he's definitely been reeling him in. So Creasy up in the points at the moment, looking to gain another position on the driver that was quickest in free practice 2 yesterday. On the hybrid now is Tom Ingram going down the Cooper Straight, uphill on the way into the left-hander at Surtees. He just can't quite close the gap to the two BMWs. What he doesn't want is to have to now defend against his teammate, that final spot on the podium, and that's what he might have to do, because Morgan is almost with him now as they come out through Clark Curve. Over the start-finish line they go. 5 laps to go, including the one they've just started, as the top 4 go through into Paddock Hill Bend. Morgan has now got himself to within 0.3 of a second of Tom Ingram, and Dan Lloyd is going to have a charge up the inside of Sam Osborne, and he gains a place on the road, but of course he's got this penalty for the full start, which is going to knock him back behind the 2 cars that are directly behind him anyway. So Sam Osborne loses a place on the track, but doesn't actually lose a place as Tom Ingram checks the mirrors. Both he and Morgan on the hybrid as they come onto the Cooper Straight.
Yeah, that battle you just described does allow now Darrell de Leon to have a go at Sam Osborne for what in reality will be 7th place in this race. So that's another battle to watch out for. The top 4 with it's 2 pairs of teammates, isn't it? So you kind of wonder what might happen over the remaining 4 laps. It's sort of been that few car lengths between the 4 of them throughout the distance. The times are pretty quick, aren't they, on the soft tyres? They're not fading away here at Brands Hatch, and with that bigger difference between the softs and the hard rather than the softs and the mediums at Donington, Ash Sutton's not been able to do anything from his 10th position. He's still there in 10th. It's going to be points to pick up and then look for the rest of the day what he can do.
No, the top 2 just did 47.9s and their best laps are 47.6s. So the soft tyres still hanging on. The cars, of course, a bit lighter of fuel as well. Hill, Rainford, Ingram, Morgan, the top 4. Camish kind of on his own in 5th. Doble on his own in 6th. 7th on the road, but with a penalty for a full start is Dan Lloyd. And then you've got Sam Osborne, effectively 7th, trying to fend off Darrell de Leon in the BMW. And Darrell looks quicker of the 2 at the moment, both on the soft tyre. Then 10th on the road is Ash Sutton in the first of the hard tyre shod cars. Darrell de Leon then coming out of Clark Curve, all over the back of Sam Osborne here. Osborne, who started from his highest qualifying position so far in his BTCC career, had a great end to last year. The last 9 races he finished in the top 10 8 times, and the coaching that he's been getting from multiple British Touring Car race winner Rory Butcher has really helped him over the last couple of seasons. So Sam Osborne working hard, keeping Darrell de Leon behind him. Darrell, of course, though, still new to touring car racing, only his 2nd full season and his 1st driving that BMW. Both of them currently on the turbo boost going onto the Cooper Straight. The race leader, Jake Hill, has got Charles Rainford almost in his mirrors. I'd say there's less than half a second between them as they come to start what is going to be the penultimate lap of the race. So 2 laps to go in the race, 0.49 seconds between the 2 BMWs.
Charles Rainford's been oh so impressive in this race. You could almost mistake that Colin Turkington was driving that car, very much like the end of last season where Jake Hill had the rear gunner of Colin Turkington. It's kind of a similar situation, and Charles Rainford's absolutely able to live with him throughout the race distance.
And you've got Darrell de Leon has made his way past Sam Osborne now after knocking on the door a few times. He got through on the run over the start-finish line, the Brabham Straight. So that picks him up a position up ahead of Sam Osborne and puts him to 8th on the road, but effectively 7th in the race when Stan Lloyd's time penalty is added on. So good effort this from 9th on the grid for Darrell de Leon, as here they come then to start the final lap of the race. Jake Hill, Charles Rainford, lights on for Charles as he comes through. They've dropped now the 2 Team Virtue Hyundais of Tom Ingram. He's about to pick up the championship lead with the 15 points that he's about to score for 3rd place, and Adam Morgan is on the boost once more as he goes up the hill into Druids, but cannot do enough here to close the gap to have a real go at Tom Ingram. So Ingram's going to get another podium. That's 4 podiums on the trot for Tom Ingram this season if it stays like this. 3 seconds at Donington and a 3rd here, and that is a very helpful way to start the championship. He might not be winning races, but he's scoring lots and lots of consistent points. It's been a pretty decent race, and he's got the hard tyre out of the way as well, though, for Ash Sutton, who will be 10th in the race. So out of the last corner they come. The checkered flag is readied, and Jake Hill is about to pick up his first win of the season. He's applauded over the line here at his home home circuit. Jake Hill wins race 1. Charles Rainford, in only his second weekend of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, is a podium finisher. Second place for Charles. Excellent job. And Tom Ingram comes home third and picks up the championship lead. Adam Morgan fourth, Dan Camish fifth. Mikey Doble wins in the independents category. And remember, he's only 1 point behind Chris Smiley in the independents championship, so he'll move into the independents points lead as the top independent, coming home in 6th place. Darryl DeLeon 7th, Sam Osborne 8th. And then Dan Lloyd, with his penalty added on at the end of the race for the full start, comes home 9th. Ash Sutton, the best of the drivers on the hard tyre, in 10th place. So number 1 Hill wins, 99 Rainford 2nd, 80 Ingram 3rd, 33 Morgan 4th, 27 Camish 5th, 88 Doble in 6th, number 2 DeLeon 7th, 77 Osborne 8th, 123 Lloyd in 9th, number 100 Sutton 10th, and then 14 Pearson was 11th. Number 22 Smiley, also on the hard tyre, was 12th, and the second independent home. 777 Crease in 13th, number 12 Jelly in 14th, and number 66 Cook with 1 championship point in 15th. 16th was number 40 Taylor Smith, 17th number 132 Dorlin, 18th number 32 Rowbottom, 19th number 17 Patterson, 20th number 16 Moffat, 21st number 52 Shedden, 22nd number 3 Chilton, 23rd number 93 Hall, 24th number 50 Halstead, and a non-finish for number 28 Hamilton. And the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race went to Charles Rainford to add to the 17 he scores for finishing second. 1 more point for the fastest lap with a 47.604. So the cars now making their way into the pit lane. A victory here at Brands Hatch for Jake Hill.
And for only the third time in the championship, winning at Brands Hatch for Jake Hill. So what a turnaround it's been from 2 weeks ago at Donington Park for West Surrey Racing. But the star really, I think, is Charles Rainford, isn't it? In only his second weekend, have we seen something quite so impressive in a driver's first season in the championship? Donington didn't quite go to plan, but he's learnt very quickly from how that went and turned it into a great start to the second weekend of the season.
Yeah, I remember a young lad in 2016 in the wet at Croft in an old MG getting on the podium in his first season. It wasn't his second weekend, but Ash Sutton, of course, was a winner that same weekend at Croft and a podium finisher in his first season. And he went on to having still quite a strong career, didn't he? So, yeah, really good stuff from Charles Rainford. And for Jake Hill, that is his 21st win in the British Touring Car Championship and his 60th podium in the championship as well, in what's only his 264th start in the race. So, provisionally, Tom Ingram, the championship leader, on 66 points, 2 points clear of Ash Sutton as we go down to the pit lane.
I don't know how successful, Chris, we're going to be at getting a thought or two from the drivers when they get out of their cars in Parc Ferme, because, as Jake Hill has now arrived, ITV are going straight in with the interviews. Very often they go to an advert break, but this time they're going to be interviewing the drivers first of all, so I have to just sort of hang back for a little while